8 reasons to choose a real estate agent over for sale by owner. Hi, welcome to another episode of Real Estate with Stephen Smith. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about for sale by owner. You know, a lot of people think if they sell their house themselves, that they're going to save a ton of money. And while that might seem like a great idea, I'm going to explain why maybe that's not necessarily the best course of action. First reason, if you sell your house by yourself, it's not going to get much exposure from any other agents. Most agents will not show their clients or buyer clients a house that is for sale by owner. They just won't do it. And so your house won't get very much exposure. So, you know, that's one issue you might want to take into consideration. Reason 2, realtors can help avoid the emotional aspects of selling a house. It's very typical for anybody who sells their own home. There's a lot of pride involved. And oftentimes they may overprice the house. So not only will it not get much exposure, most people will see that it's priced too high and won't be interested. Or if they do get an offer, especially if it's a lowball offer, a lot of times owners will not be inclined to counter that offer, whereas a realtor is skilled in negotiations. So that's another good reason as to why it's a good idea to get a professional to help you out. Reason number 3, selling real estate's really a full-time job. I mean, do you really have the time to show your house when people are going to want to see it? Take those phone calls, negotiate all that stuff. You might have a full-time job yourself. So unless you're retired, it's going to take a lot of time to actually handle showings that are potential buyers. Reason number 4. Realtors have access to large networks of other agents, and when trying to market your home, they can access a huge bunch of folks that otherwise would not necessarily see a for sale by owner. They have lots of other contacts, they have other networks. I mean, it's actually a lot better in terms of getting the most exposure for your own house. Item number 5, and this is a biggie, weeding out potentially unqualified buyers. So let's say you have the time to show a house, yet you're getting, people coming in, they want to see it, but are they really qualified? You know, if their buyer is working with an agent, then they are going to find out pretty quickly, do they really have the resources available to actually buy a house, particularly here in the San Francisco Bay Area, where housing is at a premium. You can waste a lot of time dealing with unqualified buyers only later to find out that they don't have a down payment or they're not even pre-qualified, let alone qualified for a loan. Item 6, realtors are qualified to negotiate. That's one of the skills that we have as realtors, is our negotiation skills. And we can take the emotion out of the process of negotiating, whereas for owners, oftentimes it's very stressful for them. The other thing is showing the house. Most people are very uncomfortable looking at a house if the owners are there. They just feel super uncomfortable. So if you're selling your own house and you have to show it, a lot of people just won't even bother looking at it because they just don't want to deal with that. Item 7, you'd have a tendency to ignore your own house's flaws, whereas a realtor can point out some things that you might want to do as far as making it more appealing. The more turnkey a house is as far as a sale to potential buyer, the more money you can typically get for it, and the faster it's going to sell, and the chance of getting multiple offers is going to be a lot higher. A realtor has looked at many, many houses and has a pretty good idea of very small, minor things that you can do in as little as just cleaning the house really, really well, or fixing up something in the yard, or maybe a broken appliance, just something that normally you just kind of forget about day to day. Realtors will help you work around those issues. Item number 8, and this is a pretty big one. You know, there is a ton of paperwork involved when you go to sell your house, and there's a lot of laws around disclosure. You're actually kind of at risk if you don't understand how that process works. If you sell your house and haven't disclosed things about it that are relevant, and a buyer buys it and later they find out about it, you can get sued, or they can sue you for defrauding them. Agents can help work around that and make sure that everything that you do is on the up and up, and be able to navigate all the paperwork and all the forms and everything. Unless you have a real estate attorney, your realtor is going to know a lot more about disclosure process and all of the paperwork involved than you do. You know, when you add all these things together, hiring an agent to help you sell your house is really going to outweigh all of the disadvantages of all the things that I just talked about before. You're going to be able to have much more confidence. You're going to be able to actually probably get a higher price than you would normally. You're going to have much more exposure, and you're going to avoid a lot of potential liability that people just don't know about, that when it comes to actual real estate transaction, which is going to be probably one of the biggest transactions that most people have in their lives. The net of it all is hire a professional to help you do this. You're going to end up getting more money. You're going to save time. You're going to save a lot of headaches, a lot of heartaches, and potential legal problems. That's really it for now. If you have any questions about this, please reach out to me. You can get my contact information below or at the end of this video, and I will see you again next time. Thanks a lot.